Good afternoon and welcome once again to Wave Your Grades, coming to you live every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. right here on KUAW.org, emanating from the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center in Kansas City, Missouri. My name is Carl Boyd, proud to host Wave Your Grades as a civilian host. The program is dedicated to American veterans, indeed American troops, and American students, and we are sponsored by Stutes for Boots, American students striving for excellence in honor of our troops. And some wonder where the Stutes in Stutes for Boots came from. STOOTS is an acronym that stands for Students Theater of Operations, the school. And just as those who are deployed have theaters of operations, our students have a particular theater of operations, the school, but they also have alternative approaches to education, and even our having Louis George Walker, founder of KUAW.org, being our producer engineer on Saturdays, probably a year or so, is president for the Black Family Technology Awareness Association. So when we talk about education, we are in the heart of the city, in the heart of the land, W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center, all about education. When I said that I am a civilian, it is important for me to offer that disclaimer because I honor veterans. Brother Archie, whom I'm about to introduce, my oldest brother was a Marine. Next to him was an airman. Next to him was a soldier. They saw to it that I was the first to graduate from college. I owe them a debt of gratitude, just like American students owe all of you a debt of gratitude for serving. So, with my having invoked that first name Archie, let me say in a more formal sense, Wave Your Grades is proud to welcome to our program this afternoon Mr. Archie Welch. Thank you for being with us this afternoon.
You're quite welcome, Carl.
All right, now make sure you stay close enough to that microphone.
I understand, Carl.
I don't want them to miss anything because this is a delightful program because I've known you for a while. But it is also an important program, and we're going to go backwards. I'm going to start with something that just happened, and then we'll work our way back to how Archie Welch became Archie Welch. If I were to introduce you by your rank or nomenclature as it relates to the military, how would I say that?
Just call me a Marine.
Just call you a Marine. Simplified. This is Archie Welch. And I had the occasion, by the way, very quickly. I don't remember who it was, but one of the JROTC instructors, and I said, was a Marine, and he stopped me real quick.
Once a Marine is always a Marine.
This is Archie Welch speaking from experience, but I said I wanted to go from now and then go back in history. But Archie Welch, please tell us about being the recipient of a very important award this week at City Hall in Kansas City, Missouri.
Well, I understand I was the first recipient of the Marine veteran that I got the award, that this had the first time it's been awarded to someone. And I was very shocked and surprised about it.
Wow.
That I was awarded this oh man, it got to me. because I know I've been working very hard. I was mostly into, as you know,
Yes.
the political arena and not the veteran arena.
Right.
But I found out now that the veteran arena helped me to be the president of Freedom Inc. that I was.
As a matter of fact, I do want to go back there because I was privileged and pleased to meet Archie Welch in 1980 after coming from Chicago, Illinois. But before I do that, your cap says disabled veteran.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And in terms of your work for the military and for veterans, please talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, as you know, right now I think this honor came upon me is because of me working in the field of the Agent Orange field.
Mm.
This is the veterans who came out of the war, and quite naturally, it was devastating
Yes.
when you saw everything was happening with the Roundup. That's Agent Orange.
My good.
If you don't know,
Thank you.
you see, and so that's what really got me started in this when I was in Arizona. It got to the point where we had 8,000 people. Veterans on the registry for the Agent Orange, and I added 900 more to it.
I was going to ask whether or not you even think there could be an accurate count when you think about the number for two reasons. One is those who did not quite know how to register, but I imagine there is a population who didn't realize that what they were going through was a result of that.
That's right. That's right. And by television talking about the Roundup, that's the same chemical that was spread on our troops that was in Vietnam.
Now,
that same identical symptoms and all of that. That chemical was, I guess, manufactured. It's a long-term chemical, and it is still affecting veterans that's my age, 80-some years old, 100 years old. And it's a long-term illness. And that's what got me back home. My friends.
Wow. Let me tell you, you and I have invoked the name of Rebecca Bradley, who is generally on this program every first Saturday, the first of the month.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And her responsibility on the program has been to apprise minority veterans of their rights.
That's right.
And one of the things she and I have discussed, and you can speak to this a lot more intelligently than I, is the fact that there have been veterans who go back at least to Vietnam. My brother was a Korean veteran.
Yes.
He fought in the Korean War. But Brother Archie Welch, so many had lived so long without realizing.
That's right.
And then something was visited upon them, and they didn't know to say that it was Agent Orange.
That's right. That's right.
So then, if they wanted to contact you or take the necessary steps to register, what would they do?
Well, right now they can contact me quite naturally.
Okay.
Okay. I can give them my number because I will refer them to the right people, which is the VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars, over on Linwood and Broadway.
Yes.
Because if you go to the Veterans Hospital, everybody over there is trying to take care of 1,800 to 2,000 veterans.
My Lord.
But by going over to the VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars,
yes,
you can get waited on even more. It's to the point that I have asked to be transferred to the geriatric center because of my age.
Yes, sir.
Because that way I can get waited on a little bit faster and more. And
now, will you please give them a contact number or email or whatever it is that would be appropriate?
Well, I don't have that with me, Carl, because
Mhm.
as you know, you called me last night, and I
Yes.
was kind of tired
No,
when you called, and I didn't have that with me. I do have it. If they call me at 480-797-4892, I will be prepared to direct them to the right people.
now that's perfect. 480
Right.
797
4892. They will no longer have Miss Rebecca Bradley as the person for them to
Oh,
call any longer.
I see.
She has stepped down
Yes.
in her position. The state mission has moved her office from 18th and Vine
Yes.
to downtown State Building.
Right.
Okay, so she has, I guess, retired.
I see.
Resigned. Not retired, but resigned.
Yes, sir.
And so that's why I'm doing what I can do right now and refer them to the VFW building.
And by the way, as you mentioned, my calling you when I called you, cannot thank you enough for being here this afternoon, because your name had been mentioned as it relates to. And by the way, I'm glad we talked a couple of minutes on the way in about stand down, because I thought maybe this was at about 6 o'clock in the evening until 7:30, and that was it
No,
was a little
sir.
more to it. Tell me about that.
I was a stand down at Faith Hope, and at 4 o'clock in the morning on Veterans Day,
My Lord.
and all the way up until about 5:30, and we served quite a few, close to 400
My Lord.
veterans and homeless people.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Is there a name for the award that you received? Your name is on it, and it is a special award to a Marine veteran. And as you say, first time in the city of Kansas City.
Right, it's not just to the Marines; it's for any service person.
Wow.
A committee picked me.
Outstanding.
A committee picked me, and
Yes,
just so
sir.
happened I'm a Marine. You know,
I see.
because I guess the work that I've mostly done also in Arizona.
Yes.
You see, and I've only been back here 17 months, 18 months.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people didn't know I was home.
Well, let me tell you, it is important to make that distinction, because when someone calls 480-797-4892,
Right.
it is the requirement is not that they be a Marine, but Archie Welch represents the veterans.
That's right.
And
As a service provider.
yes, sir.
Mhm.
And we have had some emphasis, particularly in as much as Rebecca Bradley was representing minority veterans. We've had emphasis there. But Archie Welch, if someone who is a veteran calls you,
Yes.
they just need to be a veteran and you will respond.
Yes, I surely will.
Now, I mentioned to you that I wanted to go back a bit and bring us up to this point.
Yes.
1980 is now already 41 years ago.
Yes, it is.
In 41 years, I cannot remember, because for those who may know me well enough to know that Wanda and I spent 11 years in Arizona.
Yes, sir.
So someone might think I'm talking out of the box when I say, for as long as I've known Archie Welch, he's been busy. Well, you see, you were also in Arizona, so I know this
Yes.
to be true. In those 41 years, I don't remember your not being busy on the social front.
Yes.
You can take me back to 1980. That would be Freedom Incorporated. But tell me about just your experience in public life, including a lot more than that.
Well, as you know, I guess I was your first boss
That's exactly
in,
right.
in Kansas City,
Impact Development.
Missouri. Impact Development Corporation on 31st Street, right off of Benton.
Across the street from Jordan Park.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
That's right. You
Leon
were
Jordan
fresh
Park.
out of Chicago,
That's correct.
looking for a job, and
I had-
everything. And we, Alan Weed and I, hired you
You sure
to
did.
run that organization.
Now, the interesting thing about that, and it was so funny because Phil Curls looked at me and he said, "You're going to be Mary Groves Bland's campaign manager." And I looked around because I hadn't been here too long. And I said, "Me?" He said, "Did you say you're from Chicago?" I said, "Yes." He said, "You're a campaign manager," because Chicago is such a political
Sure.
city. And we had been fighting Mayor Daley for a while. But impact development has an interesting connect to your intervention in the Black Archives.
That's right.
And I'll tell you how, and you can give even greater detail than I.
Right.
Archie Welch and Alan Wheat, the board of directors, whomever else that might have been, made the determination that 27th Street to Linwood, Prospect to Indiana,
Yes, sir.
would be declared the Santa Fe Historical District.
Yes, sir.
And the reason I say that it has an intervention with the Black Archives is because Horace Peterson came in later
That's right.
through the Black Archives in that declaration.
Right. And as you know, we started working with Horace. Horace had this idea. And at that time, that was just new to us.
Yes.
Horace, left here owing me some money. Because, I put all that shelving in there with H&W Equipment and Furniture Company.
Now you're talking.
So, and right now I've asked Dr. Karma, I said, you all owe me some money for all that shelving. She said, well, you should have got it from Horace.
I know that's the truth, without a doubt.
So anyway, but no, that's when we gathered around Horace and tried to make sure that his dream came true.
Absolutely.
To this day, it's known all over the United States.
That's
and
right.
everywhere.
That is absolutely right.
So it's if you haven't been down there, please go down there. Matter of fact, they have Alvin Brooks.
The life and legend of Alvin Brooks.
Alvin Brooks there and everything. And Dr. Corman is a very fine lady that knows her history, and she's
without a doubt.
And she is one of the greatest. Yes.
And there will be a formal opening of the Alvin Brooks Room in a couple of weeks, I guess it is, something like that. Mm-hmm. But let me remind those who are with us that this is Wave Your Grades. We're on KUAW.org, W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center in Kansas City, Missouri. My name is Carl Boyd. I'm your host on Wave Your Grades. My very special guest this afternoon, Saturday, November 13th, is the Honorable Archie Welch, recent and singular recipient of the Veterans Award awarded by the city of Kansas City, Missouri, for the first time. And once again, we continue to congratulate Archie Welch.
Thank you, Carl.
Well, you are more than welcome. Now, when I suggested to you that for all of the time that I've known you, I've never seen you when you were not busy, you were also, well, you know what, now that I think about it, I was getting ready to say you were also busy in the state of Arizona. I should have said lived in Arizona, because you've always been busy across the United States.
Yes, sir.
How does that happen, and what kinds of things have you been doing?
Well, it was just about politics.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I took my politics very strong.
Oh, without a doubt.
And I have worked very hard
Mm-hmm.
in that field. I was trained by the best, Leon Jordan,
Yes,
Bruce
sir.
Watkins, that
Fred
Mr. Curls
Yes, sir.
at 31st and Chestnut.
That's right.
I was still in the I was in the Marines out at Olathe Air Force Base.
See, I didn't even realize that.
Right. I joined the Marine Corps to see the world and wound up in Olathe, Kansas.
Yeah.
You know, I said, wow. And then I ran into Michael Curls there. He was in the Air Force out there, so he brought me back down to the 31st Street in Chestnut. And
Yes,
that's
sir.
where I started learning politics. And the politics that I learned was no different than the veterans training.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Which made me
Okay.
a
Well,
good leader.
I can remember a few informal meetings at the conference cove back in the day,
Right.
but it was an activism that was participatory.
Right.
And the thing that I observed about you, and I used to refer to Brother Phil Curls as one of the greatest politicians I met.
Very
because,
good.
Yes, sir.
I learned from Phil.
And
to be honest with you.
you and Phil used to say, no permanent.
Enemies, no permanent friends, just a permanent interest.
Thank you, sir.
That was it.
And that is important today.
That's right.
Because the polarization of politics today has taken us beyond reason.
That's right.
And we are so divisive in the United States of America that there are people disagreeing without logic. They just seem not to like each other. Mm-hmm. They need an Archie Welch. They need a Phil Curls.
And a cowboy.
Well, thank you as a student, myself. And as I look at the juxtaposition of politics and education, that's what I am concerned about.
Yeah. Yes.
But when we look at what has happened since those days, pandemic notwithstanding, pandemic has changed a lot of things. But are there some changes you have observed over the years where there's something we need to get back to? There are a lot of things we need to do better, but from your standpoint, what are some of those things?
Well, we just got to start including our seniors more.
Ooh.
You probably have heard me say that our community is media poor.
Yes, sir.
We are not reaching our seniors. We used to be able to go out, work with them and everything. Now with the internet and everything, we're not reaching our seniors.
Wow.
We're not. This broadband is out there and everything. So, and now you can't get on television unless you're paying $150, $160.
Absolutely.
And our seniors can't afford that.
Absolutely.
And I just say that's what we're missing. We're missing our seniors.
Now, among those who are younger, when I talk about confrontation, we used to talk about at the end of our Operation Push meetings in Chicago, direct action, those kinds of things. And we are seeing what are referred to as movements today.
Sure.
But allow me to mention a few things, and maybe one or two of these are some things you can help me with. Now, of course, there's the pandemic.
Yes.
That's one thing.
Yes.
Then there is climate change.
Yes.
That's another thing. Then there are international relations. Biden is actually going to be on a call with Xi, and our relationships with China has, I'll move on from there.
Sure.
Economics, education,
Sure.
and the total divisiveness, not just among political parties, but within political parties.
That's
today.
right. That's right.
So that if you were thrust into national office today, where do you start and with whom?
Well, you have to start locally.
Okay.
Our city council,
Okay.
our county commissioners, all of them. We got to start local.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to support them and show up, got to register to vote and make our voice known and everything. So it all goes back to being involved.
Yes, sir.
Because if you remember, when I was president of Freedom, I let some of the, I always went out to the community
Yes.
myself.
Yes.
I was president of Ivanhoe
Absolutely.
Neighborhood Council and the school. I was a president of Horseman PTA.
Yes, sir.
And when there was neighborhood meetings, I would go and they would ask for, where's Mr. Hasley? I said, he's right here. What do you want? Well, we want a stop sign on the corner of 41st and Michigan.
Yes, sir.
I said, you got it.
All right.
And then that's how I got to knowing, the community more.
Yes.
And everything. Because
Yes.
I wouldn't ask them, they supposed to be at home with their family, the elected officials.
Absolutely.
And that's how we were taught. When Bruce and Leon M gave us the 3rd Ward and said, go out there and win it. When we went out to the 3rd Ward,
Yes,
and
sir.
then when Tom Eagleton showed up
Yes, sir.
at Leon at the Green Duck,
Come on.
Leon said, Mr. Welch, aren't you take the senator out there to teach him how to work a ward. Tom Eagleton was our friend from then on. If you look at all the African-American judges that he helped get elected, to become a judge, that is a lot. He never did turn us down on the judges. Look at all the black African-American judges in Kansas City and St. Louis.
Now, veteran award recipient Archie Welch
Yes, sir.
will recall that when Wanda and I moved to Chandler, Arizona,
Right.
the very first public meeting, I think you invited me to the meeting, but it was about precisely this, communication.
Right.
It was about a radio station,
That's right.
black radio station,
Right.
going under, as it were, that kind of thing.
That's right.
So obviously communications is extremely important where our community
That's right.
is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we look at 1980, Phil Scaglia,
Mm-hmm.
my understanding had been, I guess, 3 terms or something like that in
Yes.
before Mary Groves Bland
Sure.
took that seat.
That's right.
But the phenomenon that you pointed out, that Alan Wheat pointed out, that Emmanuel Cleaver pointed out, that Bill Curls pointed out, that Mary herself pointed out was black people were running against black people and picking each other off.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
But when we started door to door, yard signs,
That's right.
telephone calls,
That's right.
it made a difference.
That's right. It made a big difference.
Now,
Yes, sir.
you made an observation that's so important. I am a youngster by your standards. I'm 81 years old. I'm not even 80 yet, and I won't be 80 until March.
You're a puppy.
That's exactly right.
Uh-huh.
But now, in terms of direct action, in terms of that contact, you were talking about the technology that for some who are younger affords them greater contact, but for those who are older, it knocks them out of it in terms of being technologically intelligent or even having access.
That's
It might
right.
not be a lack of intelligence. It
That's
might be a
right.
lack
Access.
of access.
That's right.
So now, one of the things that is going on, and I guess it will continue on Wednesdays, Alvin is at the Black Archives,
Yes.
and I guess he gets there about 12, stays until 2, talks about his book,
Sure.
but it's not just about his book. People drop by.
Right. And talk. Mm-hmm.
Having those kinds of opportunities How do places like the Black Archives assist us? Because we can include public libraries or
That's right.
wherever these places are. How
Right.
can we use those things to expand our contact?
By visiting the Black Archives and walking through it.
All right.
The history is there.
Come on.
It's there.
Yes, sir.
The pictures are there.
Yes, sir.
The stories are there.
Without a doubt.
Like I said, Dr. Karma is a very fine lady, and she knows her history.
Without a doubt.
And all over, not just in the United States, but overseas and everywhere.
Yes, sir.
And it takes people. You can go down and talk to Alvin Brooks.
Yes.
Every Wednesday he's down there
Absolutely.
talking.
Yes, sir.
You know, once, Alvin had the ad hoc committee
Yes, indeed.
and everything. So he's very knowledgeable. So it is now you can come out and just touch history. Touch it. And they're there for you to talk and to help. I'm trying to do a not-for-profit on people learning, our kids learning how to be an attorney, not just an attorney,
Okay.
but a constitutional
Yes, sir.
attorney,
Yes, sir.
learning what's happening up in Washington, D.C. Ages 16 to 24 is what
Oh.
I'm trying to put together with the help of the UMKC
All
law
right.
department and all.
All right.
I have talked to some of the larger law firms that
Yes.
will be to help support these kids when they come over to the archives. We just graduated 17.
Oh.
And what made me so proud of those
Okay.
17 that they just graduated from, the archives and going off to school, when they had their school, senior day, those 17 walked in there with sweaters or caps on from black colleges.
Now, this is so very, very outstanding. This is Wave Your Grades, KUAW.org. Marine Veteran Award winning Archie Welch, our very special guest. 480-797-4892. Contact him because you go beyond political science.
Yes.
There
I
might
tried
be
to.
a science to politics, but this is practical application.
And I don't even know if it is or not.
Yeah.
I just go off of my heart. And
Now-
I just go off and I have been able to look around and see what is not happening. And when I read in the call paper that this young black lawyer won a $12 billion suit
Yes, sir.
for black farmers.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Do you remember
That's exactly
that?
right.
That
Yes,
article.
sir.
You know
Yes,
what
sir.
I did with that article? I went to the larger law firms, and you know what I told them? Don't tell me black lives don't matter.
Thank you.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
How much money did that young man
Come
make
on.
for his law firm?
Come on.
A lot.
That's a lot, without a doubt.
That's right.
And
I thought of that. Because black lives matter.
yes, sir.
It matters.
Yes, sir.
If this guy wasn't in that law firm, he wouldn't have been able to win that suit for that law company. But look what the law firm did.
Well, let me tell you what you make me mindful of, because this is a very important time in
I
national.
always I remind you a lot of things.
You-
Carl, 'cause
without
you
a
know-
doubt.
You know, that mind of yours keep working.
I need. I better.
Miss Wanda's waiting on you, too.
That is my hero. Believe me, my wife is my hero, and I'm not just saying that.
That's right.
But you reminded me of something oft repeated. Some people will call it a cliche, but it is a statement of fact. When we repeat that cliche, all politics are local because
Sure.
you started
That's
at that
right.
local level.
That's right.
But Archie Welch, when you look at the national landscape,
Mm-hmm.
when you look at the Democratic Party,
Mm-hmm.
some of the things that are going on to enhance President Biden's agenda and aspirations,
That's right.
and the solidly against those folks, Democrats. I mean Republicans.
That's right.
Now we're talking on a national scale. My wife, our pastor in Phoenix, Arizona, Isaac Petrie Sr., you will remember Antioch Missionary Baptist Church, and our good brother Ed Beasley would come by every Black History Month. But our pastor and my wife say I have the gift of faith. I'm a chronic optimist. I believe that we can come together.
Sure.
On a realistic sense, can you be optimistic on the national scale? And if so, what would cause you to be optimistic?
Well, every day happening.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
in front of that television at 4 o'clock in the mornings,
Yes, sir.
all day long.
Yes, sir.
I take pictures, Carl,
Wow.
of all the who's on television and what they're saying.
Yes, sir.
Then I review that.
Mm-hmm.
Be honest with you. I mean, I can show you right now on my camera,
My
everybody,
goodness.
different ones talking and everything, and the, the footnotes.
Yes, sir.
And if you go to that footnotes and everything, you can see a lot of things that's happening. And so that's what I do. I didn't go to college.
Yes.
The college was out in that street, and that's where I learned from.
Well, now, because it would be interesting to me if we had someone who identified politically as a Democrat,
Mm-hmm.
and all I would need to say would be Manchin and Sinema. That's all I'd have to say. I
That's
just
right.
have to say
Oh,
two names.
Mm-hmm.
What is going on, and how can we bring together a critical mass that can help the President of the United States forward his agenda?
The only way that we can do it is go out and vote.
Okay. Ooh,
Just
you know
go
what?
out and vote, register to vote all over. If you really look at what happened last Tuesday,
Yes, sir.
we didn't lose
Okay.
as a
Party.
a race.
Or as a race
We
of
did
people.
not lose.
Come
we
on.
lost Virginia,
Come on.
but look at all the African American mayors and
That's
stuff
right.
in these cities.
That's right.
That's local.
That's right.
That's local.
And my prayer is, and I mean this so sincerely, that there could be a way that the mayor of New York City could have enough of a critical support that things like violence can be addressed soberly and not just emotionally.
That's right. That's right.
Remember, I grew up on the south side of Chicago.
Of course you did.
I started teaching 7th and 8th grade science in 1964, but my softball teams in the public housing were comprised of some young men who were interested in their orientation
That's
towards
right.
society. Let me just put it that way. When I think now about my home city, Chicago, and the violence, and the people who were working on that when I was there, needless to say, I would have to think about Kansas City. There are ways in which we must support and help the mayor
That's right.
in his efforts to bring about peace in our communities.
Do you know how freedom got started nationally? Not just in Kansas City.
Okay.
Bruce Watkins was a Tuskegee Airman.
Now listen
Coleman
to that.
Young
Come on.
was a Tuskegee Airman.
Yes, sir.
We were in
Yes,
Washington, D.C. for Mayor Washington. Carol Cole took us up there.
Yes, indeed.
You understand what I'm saying
Come
to you now?
on, I do
That's
understand.
how we did it.
I do
We
understand.
went over to Gary, Indiana.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Mayor
All of
Richard
these
Hatcher.
people, we learned that when it was time to draw the line, what we're drawing now, Leon Jordan them drew in Bill Clay's district in St. Louis, the first African American congressman
Now,
was there 32 years. His son was there 20 years. That's 52 years that we control the Congress in St. Louis.
Now, I have a question for you. Louis
Yes,
George
sir.
Walker is not going to be surprised when I ask that question, but before I do, and I will, Brother Walker, how are we doing on time? That's the first thing.
About 14 minutes.
And the second thing is when you get an opportunity, as I do each week, I'd like to have Louis George Walker let our listeners know how they can access the program,
Sure, of
even
course.
maybe later, and other fare that
Black Lives
appears
Matter.
on KUAW.org. And when you would you like to do that now, or I can come back to you? Because
Get things
all right.
up. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. And this is George Walker coming to you. You can't see me, but you can hear me.
All right. Thank you very
But I'll
much.
let y'all know that you're listening to KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global community radio station, broadcasting from the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center. This is a partnership between W.E.B. Du Bois and the Black Family Technology Awareness Association. We formed this station called Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom, KUAW. You can pick us up when we do live shows like we're doing right now on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and Twitch. And also, we broadcast 24 hours a day over the internet. It's an internet radio station, so you can get us if you go to our website, which is www.kuaw.org. And on that, you'll see a lot of play buttons. You can listen to us on the online radio box, on TuneIn, on the MyTuner, on Get Me Radio, on Radio Garden. If you've got a Roku television at home or Apple TV, just go there and search KUAW Radio. We're all over the place. If you've got a smart speaker, one of those Amazon Alexa, tell Alexa to play KUAW, and you can pick us up there. And if you'd like to join this conversation, give us a call on 816-599-6893, and you can talk with our guests. But we're just glad that you're joining us today on Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom Radio.
Thank you very much, Louis George Walker, founder of KUAW.org, and we are at the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center. And once again, if you would, please give me a 5-minute near the end. But before doing that, Brother Walker, you're going to hear a question I'm going to ask of Marine Veteran Award winner Archie Welch that will not surprise you. And that question is, have you or are you writing a book?
No, sir.
Do you intend to do so?
No, sir.
So who's going to write it for you? Because it has to be written.
Maybe you.
I don't know that I am adequately
If you think that
equipped.
much
It,
of it, then I would be honored.
well,
I'm a doer for some
I
reason.
understand that, but let me tell you why I asked that and what I'm getting at. I'm not being facetious, nor am I attempting to be flattering. The fact of the matter is, young people can learn based upon the living experiences that go before them. Things that you talk about are not theoretical. Yours is not critical race theory. Yours is critical race actuality. You have lived it. Now, as the baton is passed to those who are younger, they are not prone to listen to the rhetoric. The question is, so what have you done? If somebody came to me and they said, Archie Welch, what has he done? After I finished laughing, then maybe I could begin. But I don't say it, Archie Welch writing a book for Archie Welch. But there are so many people who could benefit from knowing the reach of a Bruce Watkins, a history of a Leon Jordan,
That's right.
the first-hand knowledge of a Fred Curls. When you look at learning from those gentlemen and then being a part of the lives of ladies such as Rosemary Lowe and Mary Groves Bland, Orchid Jordan, this is reality.
That's right.
And I just, if it puts you on the spot, so be it, but would love to have you dictate to someone more talented than I as it relates to putting it down. I would just love to see and hear that.
Well, Carl, I'm just a doer.
And
all. And,
that's fantastic.
I had a young man, my nephew, to be honest with you. He said, not blood, but me and his uncle
Okay.
was in the service together.
Yes, sir.
And I met him when he was maybe 3 years old. And he said, I Googled you. I said, why did you Google me? He said, well, I just Googled you. I said, no, you had to have a reason. Sit down, let's talk.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you Google me? What did you find out about me? He said, I'm still watching.
I believe
He
that.
said, Unc, I'm watching.
I believe that.
He said, I am watching you. Do you know where he was this week?
At the City Hall.
City Hall.
Thank you, sir. That's what I'm talking about.
City Hall.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about living
He
history.
said, I'm getting the picture now, Unc.
Yes, sir.
You follow?
Well, not only follow, but I also understand how that stimulates young people to want to learn.
Oh, yeah.
And I would say this in front of Louis George Walker, who is still in the studio with us and being gracious enough to work the board for us, that Louis George Walker would probably help us to understand Black Family Technology Awareness Associations, the robotics competitions,
Sure.
Esteem Village, those things. The young people learn a lot more by doing than hearing.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, definitely true.
Thank you so very much. I am going to ask Brother Welch for a final word, and then I want to take a few minutes at the end of the program. But there's so many things that I didn't even get to. We could do a series very easy, so watch out, Black Archives. Here Archie comes.
Mr. Walker, you see what he's doing to me? You see what he's doing to me?
Oh, no, that is so important.
That's the work of a pro.
No, that's work of a sincere admirer, and I mean that. But at any rate,
I feel very comfortable here today. As you know, I have never been comfortable in the microphone and in a room with you.
I know better than that.
But no,
But-
I have.
But any closing remarks from your perspective?
No, my closing remarks is to the point that I just want the politicians to make sure they think of us out here. Think of our seniors, who is the background and the foundation of our community. Don't forget them. Please don't.
Thank you so very much. On Wave Your Grades, KUAW.org. This is Saturday, November 13th, and we are graced with the presence of Marine Award recipient Archie Welch for his work with and for veterans, but it certainly goes beyond just those in the military, for our community locally and beyond.
That's right.
Thank you. I wanted to take a few minutes, and the reason, Brother Walker, I wanted to reserve just a few minutes at the end was because I did not want to begin the program this way. I received word this morning that Carl Evans passed away. Carl Evans, a member of the school board, and he was the owner of T-Shirt King on 12th and Brooklyn, school administrator, had a series.
Treasure of Freedom Inc.
Had a series. I didn't even realize that.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. I did not realize.
I was with his son just a week ago
Chris.
out to Concordia. He
Is
was
that
on the
right?
program out there.
Wow.
Hmm Boys to Men. That's his son was out there.
I see.
Hmm
Well, Carl has been a pillar in the community,
Sure.
a personal friend, and
Hmm
just wanted to offer, in behalf of Wanda and myself personally, in behalf of, please, Brother Walker of KUAW.org, this community, and now Brother Archie Welch as well. And we in education always say children learn more by example than they do by instruction.
Yes, sir.
And this gentleman was and remains an exemplar of respect for education. And there will be more, because I would like to do a special program in his honor. And Brother Walker, you may or may not remember that I had a program, Heroes You Know You Didn't Know Were Heroes. And he was, a
beautiful.
young lady named Syria nominated him as an educator, also a distinguished veteran. So I'm going to just end it on that note, but not in a somber way, because I really know for a fact that he wouldn't want that. And he would look forward to the kind of, quote, tribute, unquote, that would be lifting. So let us indeed lift our prayers and our condolences for our brother Carl Evans. So thank you very much. I will end it there. You can play the music or bring on another program, but gracious God and wonderful Wanda, I'm on my way home.
Oh, boy.